All right, we're going to be going into Game 6 of the KCM Race Survival Wars. This is from Season 4, Week 1. Let's go ahead and fix that quality, make sure that's good. Our last game is going to be on Colosseum. It's going to be Best versus Larva. Can Larva actually come back and beat this monster that is Best? I'm not sure. Best has been on absolute fire today. In the top right-hand corner, in the purple, is going to be Larva, and in the bottom right-hand corner on absolute fire right now, it is Best. So one thing to note about Colosseum, this is a very good map for Zerg because you have these. It's very easy to take 3 bases on this map. They're all protected by very small ramps, and with this kind of neutral creep that's in the middle of these 2 bases, it's very easy to just go ahead and sunk it up and kind of become unbreakable. So as a Zerg player, you can just go straight up to 5 hatcheries, blast out a ton of hydras, and prevent your opponent from ever actually breaking out of their base. You follow up with the Overlord drops, and then you can constantly drop in the third, in the natural, in the main. It really just depends on wherever you feel like. So it's a very nice map for Zerg player overall, especially in this matchup. However, Best has just been proving over and over again that he is a complete monster at every matchup. PvT obviously his best, but he's also shown quite a few good PvZs today as well. And we're going to be seeing that gateway opening coming out from him, try to put some pressure on Larva early on, try to force him to do a little bit more Zergling production than he would normally like to do. So Dr. Nabis in the chat says, keep in mind that Larva became Super Saiyan recently. The thing is, yes, that is true, like literally, but also at the same time, like I'm still really reluctant to call Larva like one of the best players. Like I know I hyped him up a little bit a couple of weeks ago, said that he's one of the best Zerg players, probably the best Zerg player, and that is true at times. The problem is that Larva is still Larva, so as good as he might be at certain times, he's also equally capable of being like a D- player depending on the day and how in his mood and like how he's doing. So it it really just depends. Like Larva just always wavers in between just being an absolute god or just being an absolute terrible player. And as much as I really want him to be a fantastic player that is just absolutely unbelievable and impossible to beat, he just, time and time again, he just hasn't really shown up when the pressure matters. And this is a moment of pressure. I'm not sure if there's actually going to be any precedent for him to actually do well here. So the first Zealot is going to be coming in right now, and luckily the first couple of Lings are going to be coming out. It's going to be 3 sets of Lings coming out immediately, but there's going to be quite a bit of damage coming down on these initial drones. Good drone pulls so far, doing good drone drills, trying to get on top of his opponent, prevent any sort of surrounds or poke pressure coming in. But this is very annoying, getting on top behind this mineral line. But oh, the surround is pretty good, preventing this Zealot from actually getting all the way in the back of the mineral line until much later. Unfortunately, there's also pressure in the main part of the mineral line as well, but the drone drills have been very good. Larva doing an excellent job so far of keeping himself alive in this game and continuing to make lots and lots of Lings, going for that 3rd base now, as well as continuing to mine gas. Very well played by him so far. And he's going to clean up this last Zealot in his mineral line, and that's just going to allow him to comfortably expand, comfortably get up to the rest of his tech. This one Zealot looks like it might actually be going for the 3rd base, trying to put some pressure there. Oh, actually just hiding it on the high ground, using that not only as a scout, but also to maybe run in here behind his opponent and kill off some units. But Larva just being a little bit too smart. He's leaving 3 Lings behind, 4 Lings behind to deal with the Zealot, and 4 Lings will beat a Zealot very easily. Not too much of a problem there. I think the block is good at the natural, and with the first cannon coming out, that's not really going to be a problem. Larva doing an excellent job of keeping his drones alive so far. Oh! Wow, really nicely played by Larva overall. So that was one of those Super Saiyan moments. Maybe this is a really good day for him. So far, everything that Larva's been doing has been absolutely amazing. But once Best gets into that mid game, that's when it starts to get scary. Will Best go for the Stargate again? Or will he try to throw a wrench in his opponent's plans, go for that early solid attack like we usually expect to see? Or rather, not like we usually expect to see, but we sometimes can see from Best. Best of all players, definitely. Sorry, I think I just muted myself a bit. Best definitely likes that sort of style, going for the early gateway units, getting up a lot of pressure. But with how much damage has been done to Larva's economy, which is absolutely 0, Larva's in a pretty good spot moving forward. He's going to be in a very nice position to deal with whatever pressure is coming his way. He did overmake quite a few lings, going up to almost a dozen. So that does cause a bit of problems for him because he's going to have a lot less drones than normal. But at least he has the safety of being able to defend all of his bases pretty nicely. The Spire's going to be coming down right now, and that's going to lead into some Scourge just to get some scouting information and maybe push back some early Corsairs that come out. And we are going to see the +1 speed lot build, this time with faster +1 rather than the faster speed, which we saw in the last game. The faster +1 just allows you to push out. You end up pushing out a little bit later because your speed is a little bit later, but you have a lot more power early on. You don't have to wait for the +1 to finish. You can kind of just get that along the way. And so it's going to be well, not much later, but a slightly later Zealot pressure, but it's going to hit much harder. It's going to be much stronger, and that's going to cause a lot of problems for Larva coming up, especially with this many Zealots already out. Only one gateway coming out, which is a little bit confusing. Usually you wait until you have a little bit more money and go for the 3 or 4 gateways, but you can see with this cannon on the high ground, Best is a little bit worried about the potential of a 3-hatch Hydra, but he doesn't have to worry because back at home, Larva's actually just going to be going into the standard 5-hatch Hydra build, and actually going into double upgrades. It looks like he might actually be going into Mutiling style with heavy upgrades, which is a very smart play in my opinion. When you have this much control over the center of the map, you know your opponent is very Zealot heavy, might be going for a big Zealot attack later on. You just go for the Mutiling, and that prevents that for quite a while. Also allows you to potentially run up and prevent this third base from going down for a long time because of this opening over here at the natural. So this is very nicely done by Larva so far. We'll have to see what his tech of choice is, but going all the way up to the 6 hatches, he's going to have quite a bit. Looks like it is going to be the Hydras, just going for the very standard on this map. Get a ton of Hydras, try to almost max out on them, honestly, and just overrun your opponent with massive units. And because the center of this map is so open, because the third base is so hard to take for the Protoss player, it's not that bad for you to go ahead and commit this heavily to the Hydras. The Zergling is running a little bit through these Zealots, not the best play so far. He doesn't really need to sit there and scout them out because he has those Scourge. He can honestly just tag the Scourge on there and move from there. But big attack coming in with +1 and speed light going to be coming in right now. But the blocks are pretty good. So far this has been a pretty nice defense from Larva. He's got a very nice SimCity at his third as well. So it's going to be kind of impossible for these Zealots to get anything done. And they're going to be pushed back by these Hydras for now. Basically at this point, Larva is just looking to max out, get as many Hydras as possible, but at the same time, you can see that Best is not giving up on the Zealot count at all, just continuing to make tons and tons of Zealots, actually still overtaking his opponent by almost 30 supplies still. And Larva actually making a round of drones, a bit surprising, but that is going to allow him to go ahead and fully saturate that third base, go ahead and get up to all the tech that he needs, and maybe go into a bit of a faster hive tech behind this. Larva is well known for his turtle style in this matchup. He really likes to sit back, wait for hive tech, and then just slowly expand and never die to his opponent. And that can be very frustrating for Protoss players to deal with it. I've seen Bisu try to deal with it and completely fail, but so far, oh, there's a DT in the back of this mineral line. I have no idea how it got there, but did get a couple of kills off, not going to get too much done, unfortunately. And these These lings. That's actually killing off his own pylon to get to the lings faster. That's actually hilarious to see, but in the meantime, Larva is going to be focusing on getting a ton of upgrades out. Doesn't look like any of his initial upgrades are done quite yet, but he's got all 3 gases. He's going to be getting a ton of gas income right now, and we have to wonder where that's going to be spent. It's got to be spent in upgrades. It's got to be spent in lurkers in the very near future as well, I'm expecting. So, but there are lots of Hydras on the map so far, so this is very nice for Larva. Hydras are one of those units that in small to middle-ish numbers are not all that great, but once they start getting up to high numbers, once they start getting up to 3 or 4 subgroups, they become very, very, very scary to actually deal with. I love that he's leaving a couple of Hydras back at home just to make sure that the Overlords don't get sniped for free. He's going to be able to push any of the Corsair counterattacks back for just a bit, and meanwhile just putting pressure on this 3rd base, taking advantage of this high ground area to prevent his opponent from actually moving out on the map. And this is very nice. It basically allows Zerg to contain while taking straight up to Hive, and then all you have to do is just blast out units on 3 to 4 bases for the rest of the game. Easy peasy. But it looks like the Corsairs may have found an opening, but there are actually a couple skirts here. They're going to be able to push that back. So very nicely played by Larva, just never giving his opponent any breathing room. And here come the first couple of Lurkers going to be able to contain this for quite a while, but I think Best is already on his way. He's got tons of Dragoons. He's working on getting a lot of observers out coming up in the near future, but with these Lurkers out in the front and the small choke point, it becomes very difficult to break out, even when you do have observers, even when you do have storms, just because of the choke point you have to run through as the Protoss player. So this is very nicely done by Larva so far. He's going to be able to slowly contain his opponent. Here comes the first couple of Lurkers. Unfortunately, all the storms go down on top of them, and actually all the Lurkers just die off immediately. Very poor play from Larva right now, and he's actually going to lose quite a bit. He needs to snipe that observer before he leaves, so he's going to snipe the observer, and now he's out of here trying to get out, but a lot of those units are just going to die off for free, and Best just doing a fantastic job finding a moment where Larva was complacent, being able to kill off all those Lurkers early on. And is there enough defense back at home? Did Larva play a little bit too greedy with that attack? We'll have to see. He's actually ended up losing quite a bit in that first attack for almost free. When you look at Best supply, he's up by 60 supply. Just absolutely insane macro coming out from him. And he's going to have a huge army coming in against no Lurkers. The Storms are very good so far. They're going to be able to blanket a lot of these Hydras. The Hydras blocking themselves, not going to be able to get out. And slowly, the Zealots are being slowly whittled down. But with no more Lurkers still here, this is becoming very, very problematic. Finally, Lurkers out. He needs to get those burrowed and get those in position. But the Zealots actually just running past to a better position. Very nicely done. And with more and more reinforcements coming in from Best, he's going to be able to absolutely completely squash this. Luckily, the Lurkers have been able to slow this down for now, but with a couple of Dragoons and this Observer, that is broken, and the Natural is down. There's nothing more for Larva to do. He's got Zealots in his main, he's got Dragoons in his third, he's got more and more units pouring across the map into his bases, and I don't think the reinforcements are going to be enough. This might just be the end of Larva. Played a little bit too aggressively early on, and ended up losing those Lurkers. It cost him very dearly. He's going to try to hold on for a little bit longer, but considering how much damage has been done to his economy, how much damage has been done to his army, this is a no-brainer. That's over. GG! Best wins the race wars, eliminating all of his opponents in flawless style. Wow.